Hey everyone, I'm currently procrastinating on a lot of missing assignments, and honestly, that led to an existential crisis and me, wanting to spiral again. So, I think I want to share something that, has been affecting me for most of my life, and that's the idea of being ugly. I think it's important to talk about this type of stuff more. I feel like a lot of the time it's just like conventionally attractive girls talking about it, right? And you're like, you don't feel fucking ugly, like you look beautiful, you know what I mean? And even then, I feel like a lot of people go onto the comment sections of ugly people like me and be like, you're gorgeous, you're beautiful. And then, it's not fucking true. It makes you feel worse when you're reading it. So, I'm gonna give some context on, my everything and how it's affected me. And, yeah. I have a script on me. I'm so sorry. I know I'm fake. I'm not reading this from the heart. So, growing up, I was fat. Yeah, I mean, I had large forehead, which I still do, by the way, guys. And I would get teased a lot by it. I think the minute I had second grade, I was just being consistently bullied, from then to even now in subtle ways. I wasn't pretty and I wasn't popular. Yada yada yada, right? I was just made fun of so much by everyone around me. It felt like no one was on my side about calling me beautiful. I don't think I've been called beautiful actually by anyone since the 7th grade, unless prompted to. I mean the 2nd grade, not the 7th. But I haven't it's either been me fishing for attention on TikTok and then getting called beautiful. But I've never been called beautiful in the way where they're just looking at me. They're like, "You're beautiful, honey." Even by my parents. I was aware of my ugliness after that. I mean, beforehand, you're a kid and you're a cute little toddler, so you're just getting your cheeks pinched all the time, right? But I think it's a different thing when you feel it at home also because you can't escape it anywhere you go. And I mean, personality and interest they could change, but your face, you're kind of stuck with it for ever, and you can't do much about it, especially as a kid. But yeah, so then I was in 5th or 6th grade when the pandemic happened, since I'm now a sophomore in high school. And it doesn't get better, I'll say that. So then the pandemic hit, and for everyone, it was so sad, guys. The world shut down. But for me, it was also a time for me to take advantage of it, because in my head, I was like, holy shit, what if I just get a massive glow up and I could prove everyone wrong in the span of a year once the pandemic ends? And I started delving into these communities and get so hinged and focused on the fact that I needed a glow up. I needed to become beautiful to prove everyone wrong. I would start messing around with makeup. I was 11, so I don't know what I was doing. Those Sephora kids. That was me. Okay, that was me. I thought I needed a whole skincare routine at 11 to be beautiful. And I know it sounds cliche, but I was trying to just do everything to fix myself, to have my what's that one show, True Beauty? I was trying to do that. I thought I would be her once I put on makeup, which obviously I'm not, because if you look at me now, it's it's the same. And then eventually, I don't know how I found this community. Originally it was because I found these K-pop diet idols, right? Then that transitioned into an eating disorder community on YouTube where they have their different diets on a playlist. And then that led me to My Pro Anna because I wanted to research more about these diets. Name dropping, sorry. I'm not sure if it's called My Pro Anna still. It's been a while since I've been on it, and I don't think it's that active anymore. Someone should check that up on me. But I started posting myself on My Pro Anna, and I took a lot of the posts down once I got over my eating disorder. But I still have an account just because. I don't know, it's the fear that I might get sucked back into it, but it keeps me afloat, right? And I would be oh, I lost 5 pounds today, I did this diet, and this is how I felt, little updates. And no one would respond to it, but it felt good having some sort of at least someone read it. Yeah, I mean. And it wasn't long before that develops to a full blown eating disorder. It's one thing in the diet, and then it's another thing to be eating 600 calories a day and just looking up at the ceiling as an 11-year-old and being I don't feel anything anymore. Yeah, I mean. And I was supported. Like, I remember I got this one comment, like, oh, your progress is so good. Like, I don't know how you do it. And I was like, that's all I needed. I needed, like, just one comment to feel good about it. And I wasn't being called pretty at home either. My mom called me Ugly Betty for, like, the longest time. She only stopped recently once I got my braces off, so. But I thought if I'm not beautiful, I might as well get attention for just being sick and being ill. And it was like this romanticization of the idea that like no one's gonna pay attention to me unless I look like I'm on the verge of death. And people only really get attention paid to them if they're smart or beautiful, and I just happen to not feel any of those things. Then I got into in-person learning, and a lot of people noticed my weight loss, and that made me feel really good about myself. I would call myself fat in front of these people, and they'd be like, no, you're so skinny, Brianna. Name drop. And I would be like, yeah, I am. And I would feel so good about myself. It was like an instant serotonin boost, you know what I mean? Because I'm like, if they can notice that I have an eating disorder, then I guess that means that they see something in me, you know what I mean? And I stopped eating, my regular meals. Like, I would, like, go home. I would eat, like, a white egg white for breakfast. I would go to school. I wouldn't eat lunch there. And then my mom would ask me if I wanted lunch at home, and I'd say, no, I ate at school. And then I'd sleep the whole day, and then I'd sleep enough that, like, I wouldn't have to deal with dinner, and then the same pattern over and over again. So really the only thing I was consistently eating was breakfast and, like, my rice crackers in the afternoon. And anorexia isn't just about food and, like, that type of stuff. Like, I know a lot of people say that it's about control, but for me personally, it wasn't about control. It was about my own personal vanity and wanting to be, like, an attention whore and feel like, oh, I'm able to be noticed by these other people, you know what I mean? But I felt like, in the same sense, I was fading away from just everyone and everything. I was just disassociating in, like, all of my classes throughout 6th and 7th grade. I was essentially, like, gone, you know what I mean? Somewhere along the way, also, I found myself lurking in places like Reddit, r/True Ramy, and r/Vindicta. Is that how you call it? So, and these are like subreddits where like people will rate your appearance, and I thought it would help me get better looking, so the bullying would stop. But instead, it just fed into the cycle. I remember I got a few comments about my nose and my forehead, and just that I should smile more. But yeah. And those are probably still online, and I regret posting them a lot because I didn't realize how easily it's just to download pictures on Reddit because I was stupid, and now there's probably some weird guys on the internet calling me a 4 out of 10 with my 12-year-old pictures. The obsession didn't just end with how I looked, it started consuming me into how I perceived my classmates and my peers, which made me a lot more antisocial than I already was. I started judging everyone around me, and it wasn't healthy, and I knew I wasn't right for doing that, because I knew myself that I was ugly, so why should I be commenting on other people? These places just enforced the idea that beauty was everything. Beauty would get me a job, beauty would help me improve my love life, and I was becoming a worse person overall. I felt myself becoming angry at the world and at other people for calling me ugly and them being ugly themselves. Yeah, I would rate people, criticize them, and feel good about myself in a way that wasn't real, because I would get like this small boost of going on these comment sections and being like, you're a 4 out of 10. And then I would go back and look at myself in the mirror and then my own subreddit posts and looked, I was getting called like a 3 out of 10 and shit. So yeah. So I didn't think I really talked about this in the span of 9 minutes, but I was still getting bullied throughout this time. And it wasn't for being fat, it was just being ugly in general, just having an odd looking face, you know what I mean? I was in I was in 8th grade, and I was at the prom, and it was like the first time that I felt confident enough to wear like heavy makeup, right, in like a public setting. And I remember I looked up myself and I felt good for the first time in a while. I just got over my eating disorder, and these two guys just came up to me and were like, you're ugly. Like, you're ugly as fuck. Like, what the fuck's wrong with your makeup? And they just walked away. And, like, I've never spoken to them since, obviously, because we went separate ways in high school, but I still think about that sometimes, and I wonder if that's how, on the days that I do perceive myself as good looking, you know, very rarely, I wonder if that's what people are actually thinking in, like, the back of their minds when they look at me, right? And then I was going into high school, and the summer was just like me trying to like get prettier and just look nicer in these superficial ways. Because I thought that if I failed in middle school, that maybe if I went to high school super far away from myself, that people would recognize me and how I looked. And at this point in time, I still considered myself pretty ugly, to be honest. And I wasn't using makeup as much as I do now. Yeah, I don't think I use a lot of makeup, but I like, I do like the regular maintenance stuff with my eyebrows and like lip gloss and stuff like that. But high school also wasn't a good time for me facially either, I think. I was gaining a lot of weight because I just recovered from my eating disorder, and that made me almost spiral back into it. I had a really short relapse of like a month maybe of just being like, holy shit, I've gained so much weight, I need to lose it again. But then, like, I don't know exactly what happened, but something clicked inside of me where I was tired of it and everything and judging everyone. It felt so time consuming to just be on Reddit all the time and just rating random girls. It was taking time away from my schoolwork. That's the most embarrassing part of it, right? I was spending more time focusing on my appearance and other people's appearance, and I didn't dedicate myself to what actually mattered and the people I could have met and people I could have been friends with instead. And instead, I was spending all my time worrying about everyone else and me. Today, I mean, I could say that I'm still learning and I still have days where I struggle with how I look, but I'd say to just be neutral towards it. I don't know where I got this like mentality from myself, but like I'm personally sharing what helped me. Obviously, it's gonna be different for every person. I've just stopped caring because I realize if I think I look good in the moment and then I have the slightest change, I'm gonna feel shitty about it like a whole month after, and I look really different. And then the same thing's gonna happen if I think I look really ugly, and then I think I look really good, and then I think I look really like I'd rather just not have an opinion on how I look at all. I think today we just put so much pressure on young girls to look beautiful, and it's really toxic. I mean, on TikTok you could use filters, and they don't even look like they're filters. They look like they're your actual fucking face. There's the slim face filter, and I've used that before, and like it fucked up my image so badly last year because I kept on using it on like every photo that I fucking took on my story. And there's just we see so much beautiful people on social media because it's so easy for them to get popular that we forget that average looking people exist in the process, I think. And it just makes it a lot worse for ugly people like myself just trying to survive the social climate in general. But that's it. That's all I have to say. There's no cohesive ending to this. It's always a process. There's always progress to be made. But thanks for listening to me. And if you're struggling with anything, I don't know, talk about it in the comments. I don't really care. I don't think I'm going to respond unless it's like super compelling. I'm going to be so real right now. Because I'm vain and I'm not going to like... Actually, maybe I will if I'm procrastinating on more work. But yeah, thank you for listening or whatever. Bye.